when I saw the rumours of PSG in midweek,
yeah,
and I was thinking, well, what would the fee be? You know, he's in the final year of his contract. You know, is it something United could turn down? I think he needs to move away. I think he needs to move away from Manchester United because I don't believe the fans are totally behind him. There are an element, of course, they want him to do well. He's a Manchester boy and they'd love to see him do well. But I don't think there's that vibe. The vibe is bad at Man United. And can he play in that toxic atmosphere, which is certainly at the football club? And is it doing him more harm? Is he being suffocated at the club because of it?
So you're saying he should move away from Manchester United. Does that mean moving away to another Premier League club, or should he be moving completely away from English football?
Oh, I think he's primed to should go abroad. Go and do what Chris Smalling done. Go and do what Tammy Abraham's done.
Yeah.
Go and do that and try and reignite your career because there is something that changes you. And I had that at 31. It changed me totally as my mindset as a footballer and a different way of thinking. My commitment to football at that time was the highest it had ever been when I left these shores. And I went to a club that excited me. And if PSG did come in and they made an offer, I don't think Man United would turn it down. I don't think they would. I think they'd move on from Marcus.
But
now.
Would he fit into PSG?
Sorry?
Would he fit into PSG?
Well, he'd do well to get in the team.
That's the problem.
But Mbappe's injured at the moment. Okay, so they've got Neymar, who they are clearly trying to move on, PSG, but they can't because he's on too much money. He might play in that Neymar position, and a lot of people go, oh, Neymar's a much more established star than Marcus. But he played, if you remember the performance against PSG when he got 2 goals in the Champions League, you know, they still have a lot of fresh memories of how well he done. And he might go there and do unbelievably well. But I do think he needs a change of environment, and I think he's primed to go abroad. I think he needs that Tammy Abrahams, Chris Smalling, where he can go and show what he can do elsewhere. There's a lot of negative stuff around Marcus, whether it's social media or via punditry. I just think it feels like he's carrying it all on him. It's
like he needs to get away from the spotlight that has been placed upon him by being over here. Is there a league? I know you talk about PSG because that's the club that's been talked about. But is there a league that you think actually the way he plays, he'd really suit that type of league?
Well, I think European. I mean, definitely. You know, I think Italy would be a chance for him to excel. I mean, he's got fantastic attributes. The problem he's really suffered with, I don't believe he's clinical enough. And if you can't be clinical and you're playing Premier League and the benchmark is really high, he's playing for a club that is not the club it used to be at the moment. And he's really, I feel, suffering for that. But I do think, yes, moving abroad and work on his game. You know, people will say, well, PSG's a massive club, and you're scrutinised. Yes, you are. But you're winning every week and you're getting a lot more chances and you're getting thrown into against majority to get your confidence, to get your confidence in your game where, he'd learn again of playing and training with players of the ilk we just talked about. He was alongside Lionel Messi in the team and, it would be, I feel he's just, Cantona, when he came, and I've always referenced Cantona because when he came from France, he needed to leave France. Because the vibe around him, the negativity around Cantona was extraordinary. And it was talked about over here. But unless you were in France and realised how deep it was, and no one wanted him, and it felt like he was a player that was just spiralling out of control. And Cantona come to these shores, and it was Manchester United was just perfect for him. And Leeds initially, because that's what he did. Yeah. And he played really well at Leeds as well. And he ends up going to Man United because he had something that Fergie saw would benefit him in the Premier League. And the Premier League was the perfect fit for him. And I think Ligue 1 was the perfect fit for me when I went there in France. And I get the same vibe like Tammy going to Serie A. It's a great league for you. And I think that's why I say to Rashford, if that came about, and I think it's all parties as well, by the way.
Yeah, a chance to reset. Start again.
Reignite his career. Yeah. The lad feels that it's just not going to happen for him. It feels like I'm going to, I might watch today's game. I think he scored against you last year at Brentford, didn't he, Marcus Rashford? Right. He might score the game. But I'm seeing a player with his head in his hands all the time when he's in front of goal. Even the chance he missed last week, which would have been offside, he still has got his head in his hands. And then the chance afterwards, which was in a 2 or 3 minute period where he balloons it over the bar, that's a guy that really is just not happening from Man United.
Game Day Breakfast with Natalie Sawyer and Tony Cascarino. Saturday mornings from 6 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.